revolves around three main criteria: no maida, no chemicals, and no junk. So, further, let's hear from Mr. Vinod directly about his journey.
Sure.
So,
Should I go there or?
no, we can do it.
Yeah. So this venture was started by myself and my co-founder, my wife. We started this out in 2020, as naturally as a brand was started in 2020, with three important things in mind. So before that, let me go back a bit, right? And why did we start? A startling fact when we were doing a research for starting out this brand was uh, we came across an amazing and startling fact which just blew our mind, and that is that Indians consume 6 billion cups of noodles every single week, right? And I am very sure as students you must be consuming most of that, right? Because I, as a student at Cardiff, was a very avid Maggie user, right? So I know that late nights, um, late evenings, Maggie was our go-to food. So, but at that time we did not know the downside of that. It caused a lot of health problems for me, and we said that this needs to change, right? Because 99% of whatever is out there is full of junk, right? And when I say junk, there are three major things which is a problem in the Indian noodle ecosystem. One is it is full of maida, which means there's hardly anything that gets added to your body. Second is it is deep fried in palm oil, which again is not the greatest of the oils to use. And third, some of them contain traces of MSG and all other flavoring and all kinds of artificial flavors and junk. Right, the Korean ones are far worse actually. Right, so we said this needs to change. If noodles is something that a lot of kids, a lot of young people, a lot of families consume on a regular basis, because 6 billion cups is a lot, considering in terms of country wise, it's the third largest in the world, right? And considering noodles is not even native to India and not even consumed uh, locally. So this was something that was introduced in the 80s, and this has become massive, right? So we said, how can we change this? So these three things we changed. We use whole grains, like we use a lot of native grains. We use wheat, we use amaranth, we use moringa, all kinds of other grains. We went to the Indian ecosystem and we understood. We spoke to farmers. We understood which are the ones grains which are like life changing or was life changing for centuries, but for some reason it just did not get through. And so we use those grains. Then we said we will not fry them, right? We will use a very different technology, wherein we steam it and then quickly dry it, right? So it still becomes like an instant noodles. So it can be used. That is the second. And third, we said for flavoring, we'll use all natural this thing which is available and not use any MSG or additional flavorings. So these are three things that we had. Now, of course, at that time we had no clue, or now we have methods to understand how to test the market. But we did test the market, and customers really loved it, and they would keep on coming back to it, and then they saying, please add more, and please make this variety, or every single variety that you see on our website is through a consumer insight, right? Consumer would come and say, like for example, our quinoa noodles came from a consumer insight. They're like, quinoa is something that I really hate to have because it doesn't taste great. So can you make noodles out of it? It's like, okay, let us try. So Priya comes from an R&D background, so she's the one who developed all of these recipes, and then we set out and we made it, and so like that, right? So each and every SKU came through that consumer insights, and that is where what we're doing today in terms of being one of the top health noodle brand. The reason for that is that consumer insights. We worked on our consumer insights because most of the competition that you see even today, they are just either following international brands or they are following what Maggie was doing, right? So we wanted a very fresh outlook of what we can do as a brand, and that's how we have. That's why I would say whatever success we have had is because of those. Because we listened to our consumers and we worked on those feedback, and even today, it is an internal part of our team that we always speak to our consumers and get insights and develop new products. So that has always been the case, right? So whenever you guys start, I think that is something core to what you do. Listen to your consumers, speak, ask the right questions, and if you ask the right questions, consumers usually answer that. Sometimes those answers don't come. You'll have to, look into the data, look into speaking to other than consumers. Like for example, in our case, we also speak to retailers because retailers will also say, from data point of view, saying that this particular SKU is moving, this particular SKU is not moving, right? So those insights, or for example, we speak to category managers. We sell on Amazon and all of these quick commerce also. So they gave insights saying that this is what we feel, this is what is working for you, this is what is not working for you. Then we go back to the drawing board and work on it. So that's how the journey that's been, and yeah. So this just getting started. So I think we can put a dent in that universe of 6 billion cups and change that for good. And that's the entire mission, that we should first change that for India and then change that for the world. So that's the short synopsis of our journey.
One thing you mentioned is how in the starting it is important to get the product validated by the customer. So, what are the ways one can do that?
See, the easiest hack today available, right? If you're, especially if you're an FMCG or a consumer brand, right? So D2C is the way to go forward, right? When I say D2C, it means just set up a Shopify store and start running Facebook ads, right?
Okay.
Facebook and Instagram ads. That you can do it with a very small budget of even 500 or 1,000 rupees a day, right? And with that, you just make a few static ads. You don't even need video ads of your product and just test it out, right? See whether there is a consumer feedback coming on it. See whether consumers are actually willing to buy it. And this, by the way, you can do even without a product, right? You can just refund back to them, right? So you run it onto a page, see whether consumers are buying, speak to those first 100 consumers and see why were they interested in buying it, what is the feature that they really liked it, would they want them to tweak or anything of that. And that's basically all you need to know about consumer research, right? So there are other nuanced ways of doing it. Like for example, what I do is whenever I launch something, then I also use my social media presence. Like for example, I have a very good Twitter presence, right? So, or X, what it is called now, right? So I do a lot of poll or a lot of product teasers, that this is the new product that is going to launch. What do you think is the right thing, right? I'll give you an example. So we recently launched a high protein version of instant noodles. So 6 months prior to that, I started my research saying that if I would launch something like this, would you guys be interested? So every post I made got over 100K views, which shows there is a very active interest. Okay, so that's one validator. Second is, under every post, people started giving suggestions. This many grams of protein should be there per 100 grams. This many grams of protein should be there. This is the kind of pricing. So everything that you need for a product, right? The coatless 5P, right? So all of that they started solving for me, right? This is where it should be available. This is where it is. So if you have a social media presence, then that is one added layer of validation that you can get, right? So these are two ways in which we validate any new product and then launch that.
One thing we often do sitting in hostels is sometimes discuss about, let's say, business ideas or gaps in the market. Now, what are few things we should keep in mind, or some check boxes we should take before thinking, before actually working on it, before taking that leap of faith with the idea?
See, one thing that you need to do is, like, don't believe that you will have a very perfect product day one, right? Like, we never had the best of the noodles on day one, but we had a noodle which was good, right? Because with food products you cannot compromise all those stuff. You have to have a workable version of the product, right? Once you have a workable version of the product, then test it out and then iterate very fast. So knowing that is very important. And ideas are dime a dozen. It is the execution that matters. The same thing in FMC and same thing for every single idea, right? Ideas are dime a dozen. So you have a very small prototype and just test it out. As simple as that, right? Like I said, in case of FMCG, you can do that with a Shopify store. Just have a Shopify store, or you have a landing page, and then with Claude and all, you can write landing pages within 5 minutes, and then just drive out the traffic to that page and test out whether people are interested in buying it, right? So that's the easiest way to test your ideas.
Okay. One more thing people often struggle understanding is when do I, let's say, approach someone for funding my project? Till what point do I keep putting in my own money? When do I approach someone for help when it comes to funding? When do I approach someone to partner up with me?
See, so this is again a very, very personal, specific question. It depends on two things, right? It depends on how much money you have in bank right now, right? And it depends upon the size of the idea, right? So if you're like putting a manufacturing unit and all of that, so that needs funding from day one. But if you're starting in contract-based FMCG business, then it needs far lesser money. So calculate that upfront, right? At least a rough calculation you'll understand. Let's say you want to start a coffee brand, right? So where I'm going to source the coffee from, how much is the coffee going to be, what is the minimum order value, all of that you can do even without spending a single rupee, right? So understand that and then extrapolate it to let's say 1 year, right? So 1 year, if I don't get anybody to fund me, will I be able to run this?
Okay.
Right? So you have that. So if the answer is no, at the same time taking care of yourself, right? So if the answer is no, then you have to have funding even at day zero. The answer is that you will be able, you have certain savings, or your parents have given you some money, or you're able to raise some kind of money from friends and family, then obviously you can raise that very small amount and quickly get to a point where you are venture fundable. But the caveat in this is that not every idea or every business is venture funded. Right? For venture funding, then you need a massive scale, massive time. If you don't give them that, then they are not going to choose you. Right? So one thing, guys, folks, remember that the goal here is not to get funding. Right? The goal of entrepreneurship is not funding. The goal of entrepreneurship is building something. Right? Funding is something that you do along the way. Right? So if your entire goal is only funding, then you will not build anything sizable or anything valuable. Build something of value. Everybody wants to give funding will come. So they will come at your doorsteps. Right? So build something of value is first thing. I think that is something that is very critical. But to answer your question short, look at your cash position and then take a.
Okay. If we have any questions from the audience. Yes.
Can you give us some example of live questions that we can ask to customers?
Okay. I will not give you examples of right questions. I was discussing this with him. There's a book called Mom Test, right? It's a fantastic book on how to ask questions to consumers. Because what happens is when you ask questions to consumers, there is a lot of times it is a leading question. Like, for example, if you ask them, is this good? Yeah, ye acha hai kya? So most 99% they will say yes to your face, right? Even if they, because they don't want to hurt you, or they might say, why do I want to be rude to this person, right? But if you speak in generic language, then there is a much better listen. So this book, at least the first chapter of the book, if you read, it will give you a very good answer of solving this thing. There are also free PDFs available online. You can just download it. It's a very small book, about 100-page book, but very effective in asking the right questions to consumers. So, and it is irrespective of whether you are an FMCG software, anything, it will work. So read that.
Yes.
How do you sell your first packet of products?
How did I sell my first pack of noodles? We literally put up a Shopify store, right? And we did not even run ads. Just so happened that somebody just came and bought within the first half an hour of launching the store. I don't know how he or she found that store, but they just came and they just bought it. But ideally, you should run some ads, right? But the next versions were where people ran ads, where we ran ads and people came and people knew about the brand and stuff like that.
How do you scale up your business?
How do you scale up?
Your business?
So two, three things, right? So scaling happens because of two, three things. One is obviously your marketing, you run ads and all of those things. So those are like very easy version of it. Second way of scaling is if you scale your distribution networks, right? When I speak about distribution, as in, like, for example, when you're only Shopify, like, right, when you're own D2C website, so you're just doing that's one channel, right? Then one more way to expand is you can put it onto Amazon. Then you can put it onto quick commerce. Then you can start storing in offline stores. So every channel that you go into will unlock growth. Right? So that's how you keep scaling concurrently. Right? So the more places that you be, the more uh, growth happens. But it's a little tough to manage all of this. But so if you're starting out, I will suggest that you do just one, and then slowly start scaling the others as well.
We have a few questions at the back.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Don't look back. Sit.
Question is regarding like growth and profitability. So, B2C brand like yours, they require a lot of ad spending and stuff. So, how did you go about figuring the right mix of advertisement that you have to do as a part of your revenue? Like keep growing at a certain rate, but keep the profitability at a certain level that will be sustainable.
Sure. So this is a fantastic question, right? This is something that all D2C brands struggle with. So initially, last year at least, the first 4 years we were profitable, right? Because we did not raise money and all of that. So growth was slow, and all of those things, and we were figuring out the product, all of those things. But since last year, once we had some funding come through, then we had to naturally run behind a little bit of growth. But what happened at that time is we discovered some channels which were burning a lot of money, right? And specifically, our quick commerce was burning a lot of money. So that's when we realized that this kind of growth is one, it's not sustainable. Second is it is something that you will always have to keep raising money, you always have to do that, right? It's not sustainable. So that is something that we very quickly came to know, and then we changed our way of doing. So we analyzed every single channel that we are present in, right? We write down to what kind of unit economics, how much money we will make, what is the reason why we are losing money in this particular channel, doing what will change that. So we did all of those experiments in the last 3 months and completely turned around the business from negative to positive. The reason was because we understood that those unit economics in each and every of the channel, right? Once you understand that, and once you understand how one channel affects the other channel, right? Then how marketing on Meta, how does it affect marketing on Amazon, right? So there is a direct correlation we found. Right? So then once we figured that out, we started scaling one particular channel, which is our Meta business, right? So we started doubling down on what is working, and we started cutting down on what is not working for us. And another thing that we do very consciously at our company is that no matter what scale we are in, every time we are negotiating with our vendors for bringing down price, right? In FMCG, the most important thing is your operations. You live or die by your operations, right? So if your operations is not streamlined or not streamlining every single day, then you're going to lose out, right? So that is something which is very hardcore to us. Like, let's say our shipment goes right now, we do roughly about 15,000 orders a month, right? Just from our website, right? So we're planning to scale it to 30,000. So at 5,000, what was our rate? To what at 15,000, what was our shipping rate? We halved our shipping rate, right? So that itself got us a good amount of margin. So that started to push us towards profitability. Now, when we are at 15,000, we're negotiating with the courier partners to again half our this. Obviously, this half will not work, but after this, every rupee or every 2 rupees that we save will be massive savings at a large volume, right? So that is something that we consciously do, and that's how you turn around and see that okay, this is how we can do profitability. So every single month, every single this thing. In fact, our ops team has a very simple KRA: reduce cost. Even if you go to a discussion with any vendor, it can be a software vendor, it can be a delivery partner. Even if you get 1 or 2 rupees in terms of savings, that's massive amount of savings, right? So that's how we figured out, and then we started moving it more profitable. So many of our channels are now profitable from what it was 4 months back. So,
So, so my name is Manan. So I had a question regarding your marketing and advertising. So right now there are a lot of new brands in the healthy noodle sector. I know there's a brand called You and there's this
Yep.
Wicked Good and all.
Yeah.
So, like for example, I do not eat any of these noodles, so I'm very new to this space. So, how
Yep.
do you differentiate yourself between these brands? Because in my mind, I'm bucketing all these brands together as healthy brands. So,
Sure.
Yeah. So, how do you differentiate yourself?
Okay. Okay, I'll have a counter question. How do you differentiate Maggie from Yippee?
Maggi has a very big brand presence. Right? It's very easily available, and also we have a nostalgia factor to it.
Nostalgia though is now, but how did they differentiate at that time?
There was taste, like personally, I really like Maggie's taste
Yeah.
compared to AP. And also, I would say availability is also a big factor, right?
Yeah. So I think the number one factor with Maggie is availability, right? Maggie has 2x more availability than Yippee even today. So availability is their mode. It's not the taste. It's not the taste part and the nostalgia part is what their marketing team tells you, right? It's not the best tasting product. In fact, Yippee is a much better product, right? It doesn't stick. It doesn't all of those things. But still, they don't win. Maggie wins primarily because of the fact that they are available, right? So there are 2-3 modes in this business. Like I said, one is availability game. Second is in terms of understanding your core power users and doing like we understand our power users or our core consumers give a damn about the ingredients. They read the pack, right? Some of the brands that you quoted, they don't really bother about being clean. Like for them, clean label means no maida, right? But everything else is game. Like they can fry it, they can do all kinds of other stuff. That is something that we do not do. And our consumers who read the pack, they understand this, right? So those are the consumers individuals we are going after. And to be honest, there can be multiple players in this game, right? Because the category is a 20,000 crore category. Even if I take about 3% market share in that category, it's a massive, almost 1,000 crore company can be made in this, right? So my focus is only that. My focus is not what you does or what Wicked Good does. We said that what we do, we will do the best at, right? Now, if you look at in terms of so second play can be the range, right? So we have a massive range compared to any of them. Like for example, if you want a Hakka noodles, we are available. If you want an instant version of it, we are available. If let's say you are somebody who has a problem with gluten, right? So we have a gluten-free version as well, right? So we have played into this thing. So next we are going to come into cup noodles as well, which like college students like you are also using a lot. So that also will be. They do more of trend wise. Like if it is Korean, they'll go into Korean, they'll go into all kinds of all those cuisines and all. We find that not the right pathway to the market because when you want Korean, you're going to have Nongshem and all of those things, right? We said that we will take the traditional route of having Indian flavors, but having very hardcore grain specific this thing. Like for example, we have a noodle called as moringa noodles, right? We understand a lot of our consumers have bloating and indigestion issues after eating noodles. Specifically, people who are above 30 now, even about 25, right? So the reason for that is very low fiber in the noodles, right? That is the number one reason. And second is then palm oil and everything else, right? So that's why we made moringa. So moringa is one of the highest fiber. So we cracked that composition. So our noodle has 19-gram fiber per 100 grams, right? Now for consumers who have bloating and all of this thing, this is God sent, right? So for them, they are not going to choose anything else, right? Because this 19 gram per 100 gram, by the way, there is no other brand in the world which has this much fiber, right? Forget India, right? So we are now built even for the world. So that is how we will scale and that is how we will differentiate. Now, when a consumer has a moringa noodles, then they'll say, okay, right, I want to have a high protein one also, right? So they will go and try that. Okay. Second point, I can tell you that, and we see this in numbers as well. Our lifetime value for our repeat consumers on Amazon is twice that of all these players that you said, right? It's twice of that. It's twice of the category average, right? Which means to show we are doing a fairly good job of retaining these consumers, retaining these core power users, and they are actually doubling down and buying more, right? An average user of natural yours buys 6 packs of it monthly, right? So that didn't happen overnight. It happened one by one, one by one, one by one when they started liking more and more of this. So that's our mode, and that's how we are building the brand. Right? Thank you, sir.
Uh, we have a question here.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I'm Sunani.
Hi,
Adding
Sunani.
on to Manan's question, let's look at a consumer perspective of it. When we talk about instant noodles or anything related to noodles, Maggie has spent a lot of time in entrenching that kind of behavior in us.
Yeah.
Because noodles were not a very Indian category snack to have
Yep.
in the first place. So when you have these kind of healthy eating habits and healthy noodles that have come into the market, do you face a challenge in changing the consumer behavior in the first place?
Absolutely not. I think once once the COVID hit, right, people started to understand that health is very important, right? So every category is going through that premiumization or looking towards health. So if you look at deals, consumer deals, which brands like companies like Marico or Unilever or all of them are doing, right? So they're spending massive amount of money in buying all of these consumer companies. The reason is this, right? So the reason is in the data that we are seeing. Their share is getting lesser, and these are the brands which are not only selling at premium, they're also making good money, and also a lot of consumers are moving towards that. Now, two or three things are contributing to it, right? As the per capita GDP increases, as we cross that 5,000 per capita GDP, it's going to explode, right? Because once people have more money, right, roti, kapda, makan is taken care of. Now they are going to look at their health, right? And more so because they are also eating outside, right? Which means their health is going to get spoiled. So then they will come back to the same thing that, okay, I want to eat a little bit healthier. Let me at least eat once a week healthier. Let me at least eat, for skincare, let me at least start using better version. That's why you saw brands like Minimalist get sold at 1,500 crores. The reason is that every category is undergoing that disruption. Now, a logical question would be, why can't big brands do it, right? Because their systems are not evolved for something like that, right? Why can't Maggie do a healthier version of it? They have tried it for donkeys years, but people still like that. Like you said, they've banked on so much on nostalgia, right? So people don't want to change that. So if they want to eat junk, they're going to eat Maggie, right? So our positioning is, if they want to eat healthy, they will eat naturally yours, right? So that's our positioning, and that's our inroad to the category.
Thank you, sir.
So, my name is Abbas.
Yeah.
So, just in extension to that question, as you said, yours is a premium brand, and so how do you Did you not face any problem in establishing yourself because you have a very high, price point, a very high willingness to pay? So, in comparison to let's say Maggi, which has been dominant since then, did you not face any problem scaling with that specific price point?
So our idea is that we do not position ourselves, to be honest, as a premium brand or premium positioning aspirational. We position ourselves from a point of view that this is something that is required for you. If it is better, from a better for you point of view, and the pricing is more as a mass premium, right? Not as a premium brand, right? So we are going more towards that. As we scale the volume, our pricing gets rationalized, right? And that pricing rationalization, we pass it on to our consumers. But initial days, we did have some pushback from the consumer that this is what it is. So we had to do some education around that. Why this is at this price point, what it does to you, right? And right now, all the packs that you see on our website is all larger packs. It's all more family oriented, right? It has it serves 3 to 4 people and all of those things. It doesn't have we do not have single serve because we were D2C first. But from the consumer feedback that we have had over the months, a smaller pack size will work very well, especially in QCOM and all of these places, right? So we already worked on that, and once we do that, that particular part will again, we can unlock a lot of that. So even for the smaller this thing, so going a little deeper, when you do a smaller size pack, right, you should have your distribution sorted, right? And why? Because the production cost is going to be very high unless and until you do in a big volume. And if you do big volume, you should definitely have a lot of places to be selling it, right? If you don't have a lot of places to sell it, you're going to end up with a dead inventory. So that's why the smaller the pack you go in our category, The distribution is very, very important. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I am section. So I recently saw your post on Instagram where you mentioned about selling in 1,200 plus cities. So my question is, as we move to tier 3 and tier 4 India, the consumption is also increasing. So can you shed some light on how the market dynamics changes? Because there is absence of modern trade and quick commerce and other things like that.
So it's a very interesting question and fantastic that you asked this. So what we are seeing from our data is 50% of our consumers are from tier 1, the metro cities and top 8 cities, and 50% of them are from tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, all of those cities. Now, we are not only just seeing that on our website, we're seeing the same data repeat itself on Amazon, we're seeing the same data repeat itself on QCOM, we're seeing the same data repeat itself in some of the cities that we already present. Like, for example, we are available in offline stores in Nashik, right? And I feel the reason for that is two. One is aspirational. Unlike tier 1 cities, tier 2 cities have dearth of brand, right? In tier 2 cities, if you go and look at their stores, you will find only the top large FMCG brands which are available and a few imported ones available, right? You will not find any of the D2C brands, any of these brands, even though they have a lot of income now, right? So when you, so this I have seen it physically in stores, and that is the reason I feel that that when I said right, the GDP per capita once it changes across the country. It is not just happening in the top 8 cities. It is happening in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. In fact, tier 2, tier 3, they will have massive more money in their pocket because the kind of spends that they can do there is far more because their house is sorted, they don't have very high electricity charges, they don't have very high fuel consumption charges. So we will see a lot of consumption boom that is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years from tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and that data is solid. That is going to happen. So the consumption is happening because of two things. One is obviously they're looking to eat healthier. Second is aspirational because they don't get premium brands there, so they're looking to change. Especially the younger generation is looking to change.
Also, just to add, I come from a tier 2 city.
Yeah.
And I've been using your product for the past 3-4 years. And so,
Which city are you from?
IIT.
Okay, very good.
So the thing is
Lucknow,
that
we sell it even in a cafe.
I was just out.
Yeah.
So there is this place known as a Fresh Factory.
Yes.
So I went there. It's a directly farmers to kitchen
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I was just strolling there. Sometimes what happens, your customers, you don't have to pick your customers. Customers pick your product because
Yeah.
that's what
Why did you buy a product?
Yeah, because I went to that cafe which is healthy, clean. Everything is very sorted. And I saw your product. It was somewhere in line next to anti-floral honey, Himalayan honey, and then. So I picked your product, and after I think, then again when I went back again for dinner lunch at the same place, habitually समझ लीजिए जब I then again picked the same. So I used buckwheat noodles the first time when I took yours.
Do you know we are the only people who sell buckwheat noodles
exactly.
in India?
It's the only brand which is there.
Buckwheat, which is basically kuttu in North India, nobody makes noodles. We even have an instant version of it now.
Yes. I tried searching other brands also because the taste is a little flat.
Yeah.
You can say there's no salt, no nothing. It's flat, but yeah. So sometimes what happens when you piggyback on stores which have a premium quality or a idea of giving clean, healthy eating, you can sell your products by piggybacking on their idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's what.
That's what had happened. And in fact, we never approached them, to be honest. They approached us and they said that this is a great idea.
Those who are asking questions.
We love this product, so we would like to keep your product at our store, come cafe. It's like, okay, great. Like, I have still never visited there.
You should.
But I definitely would make it a point to visit. But the point is that the owner called me personally and there's like, this is what we have as a concept, but we really like the product. We love to be there. So that I'm increasingly seeing in tier 2, tier 3, like in cities like Mysore, in cities like Guwahati, in all of these cities, these kind of stores are coming up, specialty stores.
The new generation is coming up, it's more want to taste.
Yeah, absolutely. And that store does well for us.
Also, one more thing I want to ask you. why are you not shifting into healthy snacks and all? Why it is just noodles?
Like I said, the category is so large that we have to first satisfy this. Right? It's a 30,000 crore category. The opportunity size for us is 1,000 crores. Right? So once we have a sizable revenue in this itself, then we will go into other categories. We are not saying that we will not go into other categories. Right now, the positioning is very simple that this is where we want to be hardcore and this is where we want to improve upon. Like I said, there are a few more steps in terms of the category itself that we want to be in. Once we close those things, there are a lot of allied things that we have planned to do. So we will definitely be in other categories as well as we go. Right.
So I want to quickly ask you. You talked about this meta ads quite a few times, right? So manufacturing is relatively easy when compared to selling a product. Now that all founders has become a content creator, right? So
I am one myself.
yeah. So where do you position yourself in terms of hiring and performance marketing agencies, or you doing it in-house? What is the ROI?
So we do it in-house. We definitely tried performance marketing agencies before, but unfortunately, what I feel is, the performance marketing agencies have a very different KRA to what you as a founder want. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why it is so. They are paid on basis how much your ad spend is, right? But your business doesn't run basis how much ad spend you do. Your business runs on basis how profitable you can run it or how efficient you can run it. So they are not paid on efficiency; they are paid on a percentage of ad spend, right? Obviously, them keeping you longer will, you can always say, if they do a good job, then you will keep them longer. But that doesn't happen. There's a massive churn that happens in performance marketing agencies. The reason is they are not aligned to your goal. Your goal as a company is that you need to have the maximum ROAS, lower CPCs, and all of that. But their this thing is maximizing spends, right? So those are not aligned. That is one thing I find. Second is how are good the performance marketing agency? You as a founder, at least at the early stages, know far more about the brand or care far more about the brand than they do, right? And the bigger the agency, the worse they are, right? Because you are a very small fish in their larger pond, right? So they will assign the much junior people who are not that great in terms of understanding creatives, into understanding what kind of hooks work, what kind of angles work, right? When you said, a lot of founders are becoming this thing. Content creators, the reason for that, at least for me, the reason is to understand this, right? What clicks with the audience, right? So I know, at least on Twitter, I know what kind of post will get me how much kind of views, right? So that game I have cracked. So similarly, I want to crack that game for my Instagram. So I know what kind of hooks work for my account, right? Far better and far easier for me to do that myself or internally in our team than to outsource it, because the feedback loop is faster. Because I'm meeting this agency guy once a week, right? I'm giving him some feedback, he's doing something. By that time, the month is done, right? In a startup, the cycles are shorter and the feedback loops have to be faster, right? Let's say we want to do WhatsApp performance, right? So performance means multiple things, not just meta alone, right? Now WhatsApp has come into the fray, then we do on LinkedIn and like multiple things we have to do. So if that iteration is faster, then things work. So you can say that most D2C brands have to create a small kind of agency internally for them to be successful. They don't do that, then I see the chances of them being successful is far lesser, right? The previous gen of D2C brands didn't click because of this, also because of this reason. Even though they had far lesser CAC, because they were outsourcing a lot of this thing, they did not understand that they targeted the wrong consumers, and that's why this entire problem of CAC and them not being profitable. Now I see a lot of brands being far more profitable, scaling much faster by just founders doing it themselves, having much smaller teams, right? So that's where I think this thing is. So as a founder, it is very, very critical that you understand performance marketing if you are going to play the D2C game. So it is very critical. Yeah, it depends on the stage, right? At a smaller stage, your ROI has to be better. At a larger stage, your ROI can be lesser if you have multiple other channels. And again, it changes from a category to category, AOV to AOV, right? The larger the average order value, the larger your cap. The smaller the average order value, smaller the cap. There are the challenges in both. But the critical point here is to understand what your product is, what works for you, what your unit economics is. So it starts with the unit economics and then goes downwards in understanding this thing. But it's not the holy grail that just that particular this thing you have to keep crapping, but you have to keep optimizing and making it better. You have to, like for example, if you do a particular founder ad, right? And if you see the data on that is not good, like for example, the hook rate is not good, the hold rate is not good, then you will see the ad consistently not performing. So you'll have to iterate your hook rate. So you'll have to understand whether the hook is better, or if you're getting it done via, let's say, an influencer. So you'll have to see what kind of hooks they're using. What are the hook that works? Make a document that, and then ask the next set of influencers to start giving this hook, right? Because this kind of hook really works with your audience, right? And then build on top of that. So that nuanced level of understanding is required in meta. Sometimes you will see the most basic kind of advertising also works. Sometimes the most complicated, the very high production, this doesn't work at all. Yeah. So so understanding what works and what doesn't work and doubling down on what works is again critical. So this feedback loop with an agency is very slow. With your own team or you doing it yourself, it will be much faster. At least in the initial stages. Then slowly you can have it built in team. But I am all for having your own team only, not an agency. Agency you can do some parts you can outsource, but the core part of marketing should always be with you.
We had one more question.
Hello sir, my name is Divanshi. My question is regarding what you said about D2C channels. So you have a D2C website also, as well as my observation you are available in Amazon and Flipkart. So from D2C website, how does your delivery of the channels that of the deliveries, how does that happen? Is it internal or you work with other third-party logistics providers? Yeah. And also one more question I have is basically how did you find out that the quick commerce it's burning your profit? How did you find out that? And how did you solve that?
Okay, so there are two very different questions, right? One is about unit economics, one is about your operations, right? For our D2C website, initially we started out with an aggregator called ShipRocket, right? So we use an aggregator. So basically what that aggregator does is he works with like 10 odd different courier partners. Like he will work with delivery, he'll work with D2DC, he'll work with all kinds of guys, right? Depending upon where it is. Better he will allocate. So those will be auto allocated. You just plug into your Shopify and then it just auto allocates and then you have to just print and then they come and they take it in the home, right? So it was as simple when we had lower volumes. But as the volume grew, we found that ShipRocket is not an efficient way of working. The reason was two things. One is the rates. Second is a lot of times what happens is once the product leaves the facility, right? There are a lot of issues that can happen in between from it being dispatched to it reaching the consumer, right? There are a lot of times you can have fake deliveries, a lot of time consumers change the address, a lot of time consumers refuse, all of these things happen, right? There are like 100 different things that can go wrong. What I have found out at least from our experience is that when we have a direct contact with that courier partner, they are far faster in solving these issues than having an intermediary in between. And because we are doing so many shipments a day, we escalate every day a lot of issues to them, right? And it gets solved in real time in 24 hours. If it doesn't get solved in 24 hours, it's most probably going to come back to us. And that's a loss. And we can't have that. Right? So that's why we moved from an aggregator to a direct courier partner. So at different levels you need to do that. So that's the first part of the question, how we do that. We have a central warehouse in Bombay from where we in Vivendi, from where we dispatch all of this. All these courier partners come there and collect it. So that's the first part of this thing. The second part in terms of you said that for QCom, how do you know that you are losing money? See, like I said, every channel we put unit economics, like what is the total sale, what is the COGS, what is the contribution margin that's coming, what is the marketing cost, all of those things. we found out that which was the expense which was the maximum. And if you remove that expense, what will happen, right? So let's say there is a marketing expense of 100. So if you remove that marketing expense of 100, will this thing become profitable? If there is a shipping cost attached to it. So if you remove the shipping cost, will it become profitable? If you reduce it, will it become profitable? So once you understand the unit economics of any channel, then you are able to understand moving which will or reducing which will you can move to profitability. Right? So that we understood with every channel we have that. So once we understood that, we moved the ones which were the highest expense, and we found that, like for example, we found that marketing was the highest expense there, and we removed that or we reduced it drastically, and we found out that it became profitable. Right? So that's what we moved. So does this answer your question?
So, in quick commerce, is it because what was the reason? Is it because the marketing also which cost actually affected the whole?
I'll tell you what. See, what happens is that all of these platforms, let's say Amazon, all of these, they have what do you say, an ad inventory, right? If you go into any quick commerce, this thing, you'll see banners, you can search. Then there'll be some ads which is coming, like you blink it, there's the first spot, third spot, sixth spot. All of these spots are ads, right? Now all this ad inventory is very expensive, right? Because very few brands are bidding very aggressively for that spot, right? So that becomes very high when you do for more and more generic words. Like for example, if I bid for a word like Maggie, it's a very high intent product, right? So quick commerce will charge you the highest for something like that, right? So for what we realize is that we cannot spend on quick commerce for brand discovery. We can quick commerce is to be like a fulfillment channel, right? So brand discovery, if we do, it's going to be damn expensive. Brand discovery should happen outside the platform, and consumers should be coming and searching naturally yours, rather than me bidding on Maggie and then for them to figure out this thing. Like someone said here, right? If they want to eat Maggie, they want to eat Maggie. So for me to change them from Maggie to this thing is going to be very difficult. But if they were naturally yours consumer and they go and search on their platform, say naturally yours, they're going to be, we're going to have far better conversions. Right? So that's what changed.
To add to that, so for example, I have a customer who buys from me in the D2C platform. For them, I have entire data of how much they've been buying every month and how it has increased, what is the variety they're getting. But let's say if as a fulfillment channel, they start using a quick commerce platform to buy my products. How do I get the data then? That how many customers I have and what are their ordering patterns, etc.
One is you can get through the category manager, so the relationship matters. They do not have any portal where you can get access to, but there are third-party tools now available which gives you not a customer level data, but they will give you a data of, let's say, which city does well, which pin code does well, what products move there, what is happening. So there are third-party tools which are available which can help you to do that.
So this is data from the quick commerce platforms which we're getting through third party.
Yeah. And let's say for platforms like Amazon, they have tools. They have their own tools called Amazon Pay, which you can get. Right? Either you can pay for it or they give it even free if you are at a certain size. Then in those platforms you will understand that LTV number and all which I said, right? So those data, we never had those data previously. Now we have access to that data and we can understand that, let's say I'm getting a consumer at, let's say, 200, 300 rupees, right? So what is the lifetime value of this consumer, right? If the lifetime value of that consumer is going to be 600 rupees, then I'm going to lose money, right? If the lifetime value is more than like 3,000-4,000, then I'm going to make money, right? So that understanding that is very critical, and these datas now are available. Third-party tools are available with which you can get these data.
Reliable enough.
Pretty reliable. But I think if you're D2C, more or less it should mirror your D2C. But your LTV and your repeat data may not mirror your D2C. If you are there into multiple channels, like for example, we are available in all quick commerce, all horizontal e-commerce, right? We are available in offline also. So the data, repeat percentage data will not, like Shopify may not be the most reliable thing for us because consumers discover on Shopify and then go and buy.
Yes.
Either on Amazon or any of the quick commerce, right? And that's exactly what we also want them to do, right? We don't want them to be buying from us Always we want them to buy from all of these fulfillment channels. The reason is very simple. The reason is if they are buying it from the channel that they are already doing a lot of shopping from, there is a very high stickiness, right? Especially in our category, because they're not going to remember separately saying that I want to buy noodles. Let me go to National Yours and then order something. Wait for 5 days. Let it come. They're going to order something right now, so they might as well add it right away. Right. So that's how it is.
Any more questions? Yeah, on this side.
Which was this is.
So my question is basically, how did you initially start? So you had a product idea. So how did the testing went and how you planned on making the product? After you had the tested product ready, how did you manufacture it in like a large quantity?
So when we had this idea of the first product that we made was the millet noodles, which is the Hakka version of the millet noodles. So we went to a few manufacturers, noodle manufacturers. This is the formulation we want to do it, but most of them are any which ways not doing it because they were more used to the what do you say, your maida version of it. So we went to a much smaller manufacturer who was ready to experiment. We started with that, and then we tested out with a few customers. They gave us feedback. We iterated. We made it better. Sometimes it broke. Sometimes all of those things we ensured that it got better and better. And with that, that's how continuous iteration. That's what we do.
So how did you decide on the pricing? Given that the majority of the population is like one third the price of Maggi, less than 40 product is around 90. How did you ended up deciding on that price?
So if you look at the pricing, right, the 90 rupees pack that is actually serves 4, which is roughly about 21-22 rupees, right? Very similar to your Maggi atta noodles, which is priced at about 20, 23, 25 rupees, right? So that is something that we saw. But pricing is something that you have to test, right? You will have to look at what is the price point where you unlock volume. So pricing is something that we start with some price point initially. We never know that whether that might work, but we are not very this thing that that this is the price point we want to be at. So we reduce the price point, we increase the price point, check out various price point, and understand the data in terms of repeat, in terms of volume of growth, in terms of all of that, and then finally decide that this is where there's a lot of massive unlock that's happening in terms of price point. Then we go ahead with that.
So I have a question. So as you told earlier that you see the Amazon dashboard as certified dashboard, and as per that discuss with you encounters, there are certain dilemma that there are too many metrics, there are too many KPIs, too many numbers, and they do lack the habit of interpretation of these numbers. So basically, if there are some losses, to be interpret there are some losses or there is some market deviation, it takes a day or two, and during that time, the losses compounds. So do you face some similar situation, or and if you do, then how are you tackling it?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. So you are saying that too many data points and you are not able to, as a founder, how are you able to track those data points? Are you asking that question?
Yeah, integrating them at such level ki there is so few number of ways and these are not compounding.
See, now with the advent of AI, right, you can use Claude, you can use GPT, you can use all of these and at least get some kind of interpretation and understanding, right? So that is one thing that we very actively have started doing at our organization. That we have very access to all the GPTs, right? Let it be ChatGPT, Claude, if you look at Gemini, all of these we have access to as a premium version. And we use it very actively for all our dashboards, right? Internally, we build our own dashboards, we build our own systems, we build our own, tracking metrics, everything we do in that. But apart from that, there are like very broad metrics that are very important, right? For example, when you do your ads, your ROAS, your CAC, your business for the day, what is the, what is the business that comes from other platforms, what is the spend on those, all of those things, very broad metrics. But you need to, I start my day with going through all of these data points. It is definitely a lot of work. It takes about an hour or so, but that's fine. You need to do that. at your level. But then slowly, what we want to do is we want to build a lot of dashboards which will give this information straightforward in a way where we can take decisions easily. So I think you guys are smart. You can do all of these automations and then take decision points.
Following up on that, have we told people to use cloud, companies to use cloud and the AI. So at some extent, these are black box. At some extent, so relying them on completely.
No, you don't need to rely on them completely. You need to look at the data and then you need to analyze whether, oh, okay, we're saying this. Now, does it really mean this? Look at the data, right? Whether it actually makes sense. And then you do small tests, right? Let's say you don't agree with what Claude is saying, right? It says that, for example, it says the CAC is too much and this is not the right way to do it. Then you test out whether you can reduce the CAC or whether at this CAC you look at your unit economics, whether it works out for you, whether it is telling the right thing or no. If it doesn't tell the right thing, then you can always correct it, saying, no, this is what it is, I feel. So please correct yourself. So it will correct it, right? Yes, inherently it's a black box, it has all of those issues, but then you as an entrepreneur should also have a lot of intuition that you, over the years, a lot of intuition also gets developed. With that, you can also crack that.
So, good evening, sir. My name is Deepika. I'm being bachelor in electrical engineering. So, I have an idea, but I'm confused like what's the right time to start that thing. Like sometimes feel like you are too young for that thing. Like directly go and start some ideas and maybe start up and all. But like you did 14-year experience in sales and then MBAs and all. Like so sometimes I also feel that like gain some experience, go to still bachelor, then do some MBAs, then think about it. But I have so gut feeling that if I start working on that product and if my marketing is good, then it will really grow so fast.
And then why you're not starting? Because you want to complete an MBA and you want to have experience.
Sometimes feel like I'm too young for that.
How does it even matter? The Zepto guys are far younger when they started, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. See, you want to understand whether your idea works or not, right? Do a small iteration of that idea. See if it works. If it doesn't work, then nobody's anyway just bothered, na. Think that you will fail massively, right? Take that out of the equation. भाई massively fail होना ही है, ठीक है? So then you don't have any expectations out of it. Then you just try it out. Try it out in a very small. If it is a product, just try out whether the product people are interested. If it's a software or if it is in whatever that is, right? So then test it out with a few of the consumers, give it out to them free, and then find out whether that works. That's all you need, right? So and share that idea with 10 different people. A lot of times what people feel, this is an idea which is like, I only thought about this idea, nobody has.
In some ideation group also.
So then launch it. How many days will you take to launch that idea? Or can you share the idea if you want to share here?
It's more into Nutri cosmetics.
Okay. So what's stopping you from launching that product? So Nutri Cosmetics, what does that mean?
It's more like a cosmetic, but from inner health.
Okay. So it's like any like a makeup or it is like a cream or what form factor?
It's like a product, consuming type of product.
Consuming type of product. So have you identified any manufacturers who can make this?
I identified the manufacturer, identified the
Have you spoken to them?
No, I haven't.
Speak. No? Speak. The first job is to speak. Make a prototype, get samples, give it to your friends or whichever is your target audience, right? Let's say if you have 40 plus target audience, give it to them, find out. You have in the campus itself, you have a wide variety of people right there, right? Give it to them, put a stall, sell your stuff, very basic packaging, get an MOQ of 100 packs. Just that is the cost of your experimentation. That's all. And with that first set of 100 packs that you sell, you will get a feedback. Whether it is good, bad, whatever, right? They will come and say that. Keep a price nominal, at least you cover your basic cost. And then work out. Then like I said, you put a Shopify store and see whether people are interested in something like this. And that's all. Like you can put a Shopify store at about 1,000 rupees a month, and you can run ad at 500 rupees a day. Run ad for 3 days for 300. Let's say product costs, let's say 10,000. right? So less than 50,000 you can test your idea. Like if you have 50,000 you can test your idea. Shouldn't be a problem. Right? So test it. All you're going to lose is 50,000. Or if you lose at 50,000, you will at least come with a lot of knowledge of what you did right, what you did not do. That's the cost of testing today. Right? So test it out. Nothing wrong with it.
We'll take one last question. Please.
So is there any advice you'd like to give this new generation of entrepreneurs?
Just go ahead and don't. I think you guys are thinking too much. If you want to start, just start. Right? That's the time to start is now. Like I said, there's a generational shift happening in India, and that generational shift will not be available forever. Like in terms of, I'm talking about per capita GDP, right? And when that happens, there's a massive explosion in terms of what brands, scale of brands that can happen. And because we're doing it day in and day out, I see some massive brands being built out. Like previously, 5 years back, building a 100 crore brand was would take you 10 years to do. Now you can do that in a year's time. You can do it in 9 months' time. You can do it in 6 months' time. Right? That is how fast this thing is changing. That will happen in 6 months now. Right? So you can build once in a generation brand or once in a generation company today in India because the consumption is going to be massive, and in all segments it's going to happen. Not only in what do you say in product based thing, it will also happen in services, in B2B, in all of those things. Every segment is going to be massive. So you need to just have the right idea and just go ahead and test it. Worst case you will have is that that idea might not work. That's okay. So don't fear failure. Just go ahead and do it because let me tell you, like the path to being a successful entrepreneur is through thousands of failures, right? Through thousands of iterations, through thousands of people saying no. I have had times where I've had to listen to at least 100 no's a month with investors. But even if one guy said yes, my job is done, right? I have to my job is to get that one yes. Or in fact, I put it reverse to my team. My job is to go through that 99 no's so that I get to that one yes, right? So that's the job. That's as simple as that. Once if you're okay with those rejection ratios, then I think you will be better off.
Okay. I think we'll close out for now. So thank you so much everyone for coming for this. I would like to call Archit to felicitate the speaker.
We'll discuss that.
Uh, while we wait, I would like to mention we have a partner for this event, Euclid Coffee, and uh, they focus on coffee beans sourced from Kurg, Karnataka, and they have very specific processing and standards for coffee. I would like to invite Zubair and Panchin to welcome the founders of the company here. So we have Mr. Sanjay Sharma.
So,
Please. Mr. Sanjay Sharma, Vinod Chendhil, and Javed.
Please have the podium.
Yes.
thank you.
So I just wanted to know which is your fastest selling, naturally yours.
Our fastest selling.
Buckwheat or Rajgira, whatever you call it, amaranth.
Yes, we have amaranth noodles. Our fastest selling, by the way, is our multi-millet instant noodles now.
Multi-millet.
Yeah,
Okay.
the instant noodle version.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. It's such a pleasure being here. Actually, I would just like to talk about Dukelet Cafe, which has been a dare to dream project for my girls and myself. It's a only women organization, so let me talk about it. So, good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to present Dukelet Cafe. Dukelet is a specialty cafe concept designed specifically for high density work environments like the business parks and the technology hubs. Okay, our goal is simple: to deliver exceptional quality, specialty grade coffee quickly and consistently to professionals who value quality but have limited time during the peak hours of their work. Traditional cafes require large spaces where you have extensive seating arrangements and significant staffing. Our model takes a different approach. Dukelet Cafe is designed as a compact, takeaways first format that fits seamlessly into office environment with speed, efficiency, and convenience matters a lot. Our stores operate in a small footprint, approximately 120 to 200 square feet. Because the concept is focused, takeaway service, seating is not required. This significantly reduces our rental costs and simplifies our operations. Each outlet is designed to serve high volumes during peak office hours, morning arrivals, coffee breaks, and post-lunch pickups. At the heart of Dukelet is specialty coffee. We serve carefully sourced beans prepared by trained baristas using professional espresso equipments to ensure consistency and quality in every cup. Our menu focuses on tight selection of espresso-based drinks and a few signature iced beverages. By keeping the menu curated, we are focusing more on the speed and service and product excellence. To complement the coffee, we offer a small selection of high-quality bakery items like croissants, cookies, and banana bread. These items are sourced from trusted bakeries and we require no kitchen or in-store management, further reducing operational complexity. So, the operation model is intentionally lean. A typically Dukelet location requires only 2 or 3 staff members per shift with minimum food preparation, no seating management, and streamlined service. Labor costs remain low while maintaining premium quality. This format makes Dukelet particularly well suited for technology and business parks, where thousands of professionals work within walking distance but may not have the access to fast, high quality specialty coffee. The demand already exists. Our model simple delivers it in most efficient way possible. From a business perspective, the compact format significantly reduces capital expenditure while allowing for strong unit economics. Lower rent, minimum fit out requirements, and simplified menu create a model that is both scalable and attractive for expansion express across multiple campuses and corporate hubs. Our vision is to build a network of Dukelet cafes. So we just want to say that major technology and business districts becoming more and more professional on the move. And in short, Dukelet Cafe combines both premium coffee and operational efficiency and a workplace focused format and create a concept that is both commercially viable and highly scalable. Thank you for your time and notice. I would also say that you will surely give sirs naturally yours noodles now in our cafe because they are highly nutritive and easily available.
Yeah. It's available everywhere.
It has been scaling and I thought probably it's a very scarce item.
No, it's not. It's available in
So we
abundance.
have all the Kutuka Atas and the Rajgira, which is Amaranth, and all the nutritive products in our cafe. Please do visit, guys. Okay. Opposite my IIT, opposite Hawaii Hospital. To be more specific. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. Thanks.
We have a few goodies for people who interacted a lot during
It's not goodies, just like one pack of noodles. Not goodies.
Well,
He's being specific.
let's call them goodies.
Yeah, but then
So-
you can cook it. You can cook it in a kettle. You can give it to your friends, and also more important, give me feedback.
So four people you would
Yeah.
like to
So Divya Jot. Divya Jot. Then we have Deepika. Deepika. Siddharth Tiwari. You can make it just like Maggie. Then we have Prakriti Nath.
Thank you so much, everyone. Now we would like to invite you to please try some coffee we have outside, and we open the floor to
Stop the live stream.
informal discussion.
I'll stop the live stream.
I project that on also.
Right, and we would like to announce a live project. Sorry, please. You will please give us the
So
details
guys,
of the
we have a live project that you guys can do with us. There are two